Evening all. This episode is going to be around the subject of YOLO. Um, as far as I was concerned, that was always you only live once, and that's all I've ever known that term to mean. Apparently, I'm a little bit out of touch with the youth, so we'll put it down to that. A parent actually got in touch with me and asked me to put something together about this because they were concerned. And as I say, I knew nothing about it, so I did a bit of research and digging into it, and I can see why they would have some concerns over this. So I thought I'd put together a quick video tonight, just to, as usual, give you the details, so that you've got the data to back up any decisions you want to make of whether you want to allow your children to be using this app or not. So what is it? It's an anonymous question and answer app, which was created in 2019 by a company in France, and it's basically used in conjunction with Snapchat, which I'm sure most of you are aware of. I know I haven't put together a video on the Snapchat and the privacy settings yet, but that is in the pipeline. But I thought it was worthwhile to put this together before waiting to put that together. But yeah, this app has become hugely popular among children, mainly teenagers, because it offers them a chance to get peer feedback. So, obviously when peer feedback is positive, that's a good thing, right? And doesn't cause you any issues. But there is obviously a downside to that, which we'll come on to in a bit, and the risks associated with that. When it was initially released, it was released as 13 plus. There was a lot of pushback though, from some organisations and some charities who are linked to obviously child safety. So in recent times that has actually been pushed up to 17 plus, so 18. And any app that has that sort of age rating linked to it is one that I would personally consider to be, not healthy for younger children to have access to. But as the research has shown, it is very popular in that younger age groups. So this is where obviously informing yourselves as parents is quite important, so that you know about this and you can act on it if required. It's available on both of the app stores, so Apple and the Google Play Store. So it's available on Android and Apple. And I'll just pull up the screen for that so I can show you what that looks like on the app stores. So this is the Google Play Store, and if you do a search for YOLO, you'll see that this comes up. The ratings, I mean, I don't put a lot of stock in ratings, to be honest, on the two stores, but the main thing about this is that it's been downloaded by a lot of people, so you can see it's very popular. So there is a lot of people out there with it on their Androids, and if we pop over to the App Store for Apple, you'll see again that it's got a lot of ratings, and it's been downloaded, a lot of times on this side of the house as well. I don't think Apple actually show a figure on their App Store, but you can be pretty sure that it's been downloaded a lot, because it has, since 2019, pretty much been the top of the two charts on either of the app stores. So what I wanted to just highlight first, before we delved into any deeper, there were concerns that were raised about this app, and one of the funny things that I found when I was doing some digging around on it is this bit here. So what do the creators of the app say about the app? And Gregoire Henrion said they feel that the anonymity can unlock super good behaviours, because no one's ever done anything bad when they know that they can't be found, right? And they've always given genuine good feedback to get no reaction whatsoever. And we think we're more empathic, more human than any other anonymous apps before us. Being anonymous doesn't generally link in too well with the whole empathy thing for me, and the more human side of things for me. But obviously in France maybe it's a little bit different. And one other thing that I wanted to just show you was one of the bits of feedback on the Apple Store that sort of jumped out to me. and I thought worthy of reading. And this is obviously from a user who said that they love the idea of the app. You know, amazing features, great uses, and the problem isn't anything to do with the actual app itself. I've just realised I'm not actually showing you that screen, but yeah. So they've pointed out a fact that we will come on to that is very relevant. Anonymous people are going to say things that they would never say to someone's face. So that's where the whole cyberbullying angle is something that comes in and needs to be highlighted. I will come on to it a little bit more on the next section, but I just wanted to highlight that this is obviously something that the users themselves have highlighted from within the platform itself. So if we move on, I will discuss the risks that I personally would want to highlight to you in the parenting community, as the ones that need to be considered. So once someone has downloaded this Yolo app, they'll be prompted to open their Snapchat, and then they post a message to the Snapchat story which asks their friends and followers to send them honest messages, all anonymous. The user can then choose one and either reply direct to it via the Yolo app or reply via an image or video in Snapchat. This response can then be added to the Snapchat story. Given the anonymity, these messages may not always be helpful or positive. So the thing to note here as well is that they can post photos of themselves and videos of themselves, and as I mentioned in one of the previous videos, that is a lack of control then of that image or that video. Once they post that, it's gone. Some people used to think that with disappearing messages and stuff like that, it was safe to send anything they wanted, but what's to stop someone to be filming the other phone with a different phone, or to take screenshots and what have you. Always consider that as soon as you press send, it's gone. The next risk that I would highlight is the one that I've just touched on before, which is the risk of cyberbullying. Anyone who thinks that they can't be found, and is of that sort of ideology where they want to troll, this is ideal grounds for them. And if you think that kids can't always be the kindest to each other in the school playground, never mind online, at least in the school playground or at school, there's a chance that a teacher may see it or see that there's something not quite right, and will act on that. Here in the cyber world, who's watching, who's going to see this activity? Because if you're not informed, it's not going to be you as a parent. If you're not taking an interest in what's happening on their phone, then how are you going to know that it's happened? And there's no one else watching to see what's happening. It's just that child and the person at the other end, and that's where you get serious issues where kids go down a spiral into the darkness, and then in the end they think there's only one way out, and that's the last thing that any of us want to happen. So it happens, and this app is just enabling that to a higher degree. It facilitates bullying, giving user identities are hidden, so they don't know who it's coming from. It could be their friend, it could be someone from school that doesn't like them. It could be someone who's trying to groom them for other reasons. So it's an opportunity to send offensive or abusive comments to your child, especially as there's very little opportunity for screening the replies prior to them landing in the kid's inbox. It's direct from that person to your child, and if you're not watching, then you don't see it. Children's charities such as the NSPCC, they've already voiced their concerns over the potential for this app to be misused, and that was one of the reasons why the age was raised to 17 plus, and it's one of the reasons why I would urge you to realise that those age ratings are there for a reason. I know there's plenty of people out there that have allowed their kids access to Facebook and Twitter and things, and even though there's minimum age limits on there, but there is a reason for it. So consider this when you think about whether you're letting your kid loose on the internet. There's no age verification process on Yolo, so the app is obviously 17 plus, but if your child chooses to download it, then they're allowed to, because there's nothing in place to stop them from doing that, in the same way that there's nothing in place to prove that the person that has downloaded it is you know, 17 plus, or whether they're 30 plus or 40 plus or 50 plus, using that as a way of you know, communicating with your child. So as long as your child has access to an iPhone or an Android phone and has Snapchat installed, they have access to YOLO. So take an interest in what's installed on their phones and why it's installed on their phones, and whether you've actually had that discussion about letting them have it on there. And yeah, as I say, it was designed as being this you know, peer feedback tool, and it should also be remembered that they are taking advice and priorities from an unknown crowd. Sorry, excuse me, an unknown crowd of people. So, do you want them shaping their life, or based on what some, you know, unknown group of people on an app are telling them? Do you want that to be how they base their priorities going forward in life? It's a really strange one, because I know that kids around that age, that they're obviously very, very concerned about how they look, and being, you know, having the best, you know, the best trainers and clothes and stuff, and this tool just sort of this app just sort of feeds into that, as far as I can see. Yeah, children are just really keen to be accepted by their friends, and they may try to do or act in a way that they wouldn't normally, just so that they sort of fit in. So yeah, just another area to sort of consider. Top tips. I think it harks back, the first tip sort of harks back to what I've already discussed on another video, and it's about communication with your child, you know, and in this instance about cyberbullying. So having that discussion with them so that they feel that they can come to you if something started happening, in the same way that you would expect them to if they were being bullied at school by someone in the school playground, or someone from the class. You would want them to come to you and have that chat before it got to a point where it became something a lot more serious. So it's just about having that same chat to say that, look, this is the same. We still want you to come to us and say, you know, something's not right, or someone said something to you. So don't let them hide this away as being you know, the problem that it shouldn't have to be. Let them know that, you know, you trust them, and you trust them to come to you, because there's more likelihood of this not becoming just another tool for kids to be made to feel, you know, like there's something wrong with them, or you know, they don't fit in. The comments and stuff that come through apps like this are clearly from people who are trolls, you know, and I could say more on the subject of trolls, but I'll probably start swearing and saying bad things, so I won't go too far on that. But yeah, also just talk to your child about the app itself, and just let them know that, you know, it's okay to have that requirement for validation, I suppose, and want to try and fit in, but not to the point of hurting yourself or others. So, you know, the fact is that in life we do always try to find our niches, don't we? And that's what's more important, is them finding their niche in life, and not using this app as a tool for overall validation of who they are and how they come across to others. Ask them to see it as a positive influence in their life, and the type of questions that they ask, you know, and of their followers should be along the lines of that, rather than purely physical appearance and that sort of thing. And yeah, if they don't really see any benefit to it, do they really need it? It would be another thing to talk about. I think more importantly, the discussion about being kind, you know, and the fact that doesn't just relate to in real life, and you know, where you can be seen, but also online. You know, the requirement is still there to be nice to people, because it comes back to the whole, you know, treat people as you want to be treated yourself, because there's nothing worse than coming offline after, you know, having a bit of abuse or what have you, and then letting that just ruminate in your head for the next few hours, because especially at night time, I mean, I know this more than most, is your mind at night will start to really use words against you and turn the words against you in a harsh way, and you will think the worst things at night. Whereas in the clear light of day, you would think differently. But we're talking about kids here as well, so the power of those words could be even stronger in their minds. Without that discussion to look at it from a different viewpoint and make them see the positives. So being kind is a very important one, and if we have that discussion with them, then there's less chance of people going on there just to have a bit of fun and a bit of a laugh and say things that they probably don't understand the effects of. The privacy features would be another tip, and the Snapchat and the Yolo ones. And what I'll do is when I come to do the Snapchat features video, I will mention Yolo on there as well, and I hope to do that one quite soon. So, but if you have any questions in the meantime, then as usual, just drop me a comment or drop me an email, and I'll try and go over that with you. But my last tip would simply be that if you're worried about it and you've talked to your kid, and you're still worried, then just delete the app. That's the only way of ensuring that they don't get exposure to any harmful comments, or they don't put stuff out there that they shouldn't put out there. So yeah, have that discussion, communicate with them, and if you're still not happy, just get rid. No one's life's going to end just because they don't have an app. They might throw a tantrum or what have you, but I'm sure that's going to be a lesser consequence to what could happen. So yeah, that was just a quick run through on YOLO, and what the risks are, and my few tips there to help you decide on whether to keep it or get rid. But anything else that you think you might want to know about, just drop it in the comments. Please share the video far and wide. Also subscribe if you want to have access to future content. Thanks very much.